Some other components, these are grounding bushings. Metal conduit onto a metal box is listed as a ground path, but there's still caveats to that. When you're going into an irregular sized hole and you have a reducer washer around it, or it's an impaired hole, like a knockout hole, but you've used the inner knockout and there's still that ring around the outside, that's an impaired hole. At which point, to make that metal to metal ground path, you need a grounding bushing to land the conduit onto it. On metal conduit, both ends of the metal need to be grounded. If you go into a metal box and you have a qualifying ground path from the conduit to the box and out the other side, then you might not need a ground bar, to ground this stuff onto on one side and ground on to the other side. If it's a plastic box, but you're using metal conduit, you may extend the ground out to the other side and avoid a ground bar. And so ground bars are not always used in every box. So they're often an extra essential add-on. The main problem that I see with these grounding bushings is they're kind of designed to be at the end of the conduit for obvious reasons. But we have other cable glands designed to go on the end of other conduits. This might be a conduit that comes out the combiner box and tucks underneath the array, and the solar cable comes out the cable gland. Well, if I use a metal EMT conduit with that, both ends of the conduit need to be grounded. How do I ground this end? This cable gland is use it in a code compliant manner. It really needs to be associated with plastic conduit rather than metal. And installers get nervous about the longevity of plastic up on a rooftop. We're talking about this being a short span, 1 or 2 feet to inside the array perimeter, not something that's running across the entire rooftop. But these cable glands are important as well. For one, the cable gland provides a seal. For another, the cable gland provides strain relief. Generally, strain relief is for cables that are not in metal conduit. Imagine just a black cable going through here and plugging into a box. What you don't want is the cable that's coming out the box to have strain on it, and that whatever these cables go inside a box, they land on terminals. You don't want that strain pulling the cable out of the terminal. And so you have these strain relief connectors to prevent that tug from happening. That tug is prevented by this insert pinching the cables together, which puts all the strain at this point on the cable and not into the box where it lands on the terminal. So these cable glands that have these spacers in them are strain relief cable glands. You're not using the strain relief that's for typical conductors. Here's your floor plan for a factory, and then you have to drop a service panel in the middle of the floor. Back in the day, they would take outside of conduit power cables and run them along the ceiling and then drop them down into the service panel outside of conduit. Before they would go into that service panel, they would feed them through strain relief connectors, which have kind of gone out of style as more and more conduit protection requirements have entered their way into National Electric Code. But we require strain relief and cable glands to transition into a box from this outside of conduit solar cable. And this little kind of fitting qualifies as not only the cable gland, but also the strain relief. It just looks a little bit different than kind of alternate strain relief devices. So sometimes supply houses can get confused when you walk in and you say, do you have any strain relief? They're going to think about those kind of springy devices on the right, whereas you're really thinking about traditional solar cable glands in the middle.